think we're fine. Everything's ready. To snag here is live video. It takes a hot second for me to get all this up and running. Editing, modern. It's the one for Instagram, change like every day. Okay, sitting good here, sitting good here. Ah, sweet, sweet, sweet. Chat, chat. Send that. Discord. Okay, now we're up and running. So, big thing today we need to do is we have a list of to-dos on our revisions for this film. It's a lot of like really small nitty-gritty stuff. I mean, that's kind of where we're at with a lot of these projects right now. Is we're just it's small. You know, it's where you kind of get onto the home stretch of stuff, and everything's like 80% of the way there. A lot of it's just like, can we change the coloring on this? Can we change the cropping on that? Just pretty chill. To be
great family connections.
Oh, I know what we did. Okay, so the big one with this is we kind of have to adjust the mask we have on this pool. Right, so this. Because I think when we were kind of watching it, like the pool kind of came out a little too like Bellagio, right? Like if we turn that off, like that's a bit much. Just trying to make sure it's all nice and crisp. This soft edge is killing us. What is it, 7? Yeah. There we go. Do bring back that little feathering. There. That way. Yeah, that's good. Play it back.
Great family connection.
I guess the first one needs to get fixed now too. I guess that's kind of like the tough part with some of this stuff is, you know, you kind of got to stay. Not that I'm doing anything like grandiose or hard. It's hard in its own way, but it's not, you know, kind of carpentry for a whole summer. It's not waking up and,
Great family.
you know, framing a house together, like moving doors up and down a bunch of stairs. But it's hard in its own way. And I think this is the part where it kind of gets tough is it kind of gets like this on shoots as well, where the is that fine there? Like towards the very end, you know, you're getting tired, you're kind of getting a little bit cranky, you've been there all day. But you kind of have to see the thing through, right? They brought you out for a reason. You kind of gotta, you know, truck along, and then this is the hard as well of the editing section, where it's like, yeah, we're kind of dialed into 3 pixels here for sure, and it's, you know, it can be a little bit monotonous, but I think depending on how we can kind of finish out and execute here, I think makes all the difference, right? And if we could finish out strong, I think it's worth.
Chaos.
Right? Like, yeah, we're just dialing into those 3 pixels, but look at that, right? Bellagio Hotel, bespoke artist residence, before after. So it's just a lot of these like little itty bitty things. That's done. Denoise the ducks. Where the ducks? 3. Just because we're like super zoomed in here. It's the same thing. Like some people really want grain in their images, especially if you like punch in here, right? You kind of take this out, you can see a little bit of the grain pile up. Some people like that. Some people really want that. I personally prefer that to be taken out, not taken out to the point where it looks like an AI generated photo, but I think it just looks a little bit cleaner. We're not kind of focused on the film feel of the look, like we're just really focused on the project, the architecture, because that's kind of what this is all about. Notes. 358. Yeah, so a lot of this is... Okay, I think we already did that, but I think we can dial in a little bit more here. There. I think it's pretty much there. Right, is this node? Yeah. Yeah, so we kind of tend to have like a little bit of a wash on our first pass. Right, things just don't seem like as contrasted and dialed in. And then we come back later and bring in the contrast. So that one's good. SFX at the end. Oh, I know what I want to do here. So because this is kind of like a nighttime shot, we kind of want it to take on some more of that feel. And I think a lot of that happens through your sound design. I think the sound design is arguably one of the most overlooked things in your videos that I think can kind of take it to that next level. A little obnoxious. Still a little obnoxious. Way too obnoxious. So I had this whole catalog of, that might be it. Hold on. So this whole catalog of just like sound design stuff that I purchased, and it's just like mass. It's just right, nature, city, construction, fire, helicopter. Need a helicopter in your architecture film? I got you. Never used this one, probably never will, but like I think the layering of all this sound design really starts to kind of push the video to the next level if you can do it subtly and if you can do it well, right? I think I grew up in the era of the travel videos. I don't know if you guys watched this in like 2015 to 2019, I think is the era where the travel videos were like crazy, and it was all about like the whip pan and the like really, really heavy sound effects. And so I think like seeing that and be like, I'm like, that's too aggressive, right? That's a little too much. But like there's something, I think there's always something that you can learn from this stuff. And the thing I took away from that was like the sound design, right? The sound design and how they're using these like whip pans and layering and sound effects to kind of bring you to the space without actually having to like tell you about it. I think was done really well. And so I've tried to kind of implement that here in all my work. Right, and then you kind of watch music producers, how they do stuff, how they're layering in sound and effects and everything, and it just like all of these different creative fields I think start to kind of inform my own personal work. Like, what am I inspired by? What's resonating with me? Because you know, like you just like slap this down here. But I think that changes that. I think we can make this maybe shorter too, but right there is where we can cut off. So right, I mean, you're gonna have to put your headphones on, but let's just, you know, for funsies. I have to turn this up a lot. So we're at negative 21.6. Chat, remember that? Okay, so this is...
And be connected to nature.
Right, so that's just base of it, and then we add in our layers of sound design.
And be connected to nature.
And maybe we can bring these up like a little bit more to kind of have them in the forefront a little bit. Oh, I kind of like that. Let's give us a little bit of variation. So like all these things, right? Oh, let's go back down. I think it helps. I think it makes it better. I think it makes your video feel less stock. This is kind of like the soul aspect of it. Turn this off. So I think, you know, maybe we can bring this up a touch. This can come up a touch too. Pan it, pan it. Okay. Sound design. Crispy. Love it. We're here for it. Add contrast to context shots. 339. And like that's kind of the nice thing about doing those like revision sessions is it kind of gives me a chance, right? Because like I'm editing this video, like this is hours and hours and hours of we're in it, we're like dialed into the same moment in this granular detail over, right? Like we were looking at 5 pixels before, and it gets, you know, and by the time the export comes, I'm like over it. I'm like, get me the fuck out. I don't want to look at this video again. And then you kind of get like 24 hours, you know, like a week off of it before they get feedback. And then you get to sit down together and go through that feedback. And I think it's nice to get a little bit of distance from it and then to kind of come back and look at it and with my own set of eyes and be like, oh, I'm seeing different things that they're not seeing that I want to make sure get iterated on. And the sound design is one of those, right? It's something that's very granular. Most people aren't going to realize it, but I think it adds a certain feel to the final outcome that is super important.
It really.
So I think like this is also another one is I'm just like, it just feels a little too washed out right now. And maybe that's what we want to do. So that.
It
That's kind of tough.
really is a way to slow down life.
Yeah. It just feels better. And then I think we add a little bit of denoise just because like we push these images like a little bit far most of the time. Woof. What is this? Hello? That music was like out of left field. I'm trying to chill and relax. And you're just like assaulting me with the organ. Okay. That feels good. Ba, 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 ba. Clean up the audio a bit. Oh, it's right here.
We're trying to figure out what it is about this client that makes them who they are, and this.
My mouse is broken. Like clicks weird.
This client that.
Bing, 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 bing.
Figure out what it is about this client.
Oh. It's right there.
This client that.
It's the audio effects, I think. That's it's kind of throwing me for a loop here.
About what it is about this client that
Yeah.
makes them who they are, and what it is that and what it is that
Cut out that first one. Go back.
are and
I think this is the and. Need to cut out. Once you start adding like a ton of audio effects, it starts to lose its mind a little bit.
makes them who they are, and what it is that are and what it is that
Okay. Well, okay. We have to remember to go back in and turn this on again.
makes them who they are, and what it is are and what it is
Oh, is it that?
them who they are, and
And
what it is that
beautiful. Beautiful. And it's super normal for people to kind of like stutter through stuff. So it's just kind of like our job to come in and clean it up. So that just go 55. Get a little bit more out of it. Beautiful. Right, it's like super normal because like the way we operate doing interviews is like we want it to be more natural, right? These people we're working with, they're not actors. They're not professionally trained in the art of acting and pronunciating and like being on camera. And so what we do to kind of, right, so if they read from a script was what I'm getting at, it would not be very natural. It would be very robotic. It sounds very non-authentic and it sounds a little prescriptive, and nobody really connects with that, right? If you're the audience, you want to connect with someone who's being authentic and natural, and that's the beauty of actors, right? They know how to kind of portray that on camera while reading a script. So how we do that with our architects who aren't naturally trained in this is we have a conversation about their project. We have a list of interview questions. We know what we're trying to get out of them. They've hopefully done their homework and are ready to go for the interview. And so when we sit down, like we're just talking to them about tell me about this project. They're like, oh, we did this, this, and this. I'm like, wow, that sounds, and with this home in particular, it was like the homeowner is like an art collector, very enthusiastic art collector. And so I made the observation and I'm like, it sounds like this home almost became a piece of art itself. Like, can you kind of talk about that? And they get excited about it and they would talk about it. And so it's this back and forth dialogue. And by the time we get our done, they don't even register that the camera's there. They don't even register that the microphone's up. They're just happy to be talking about the project that they worked on for so long with somebody who genuinely cares about it.
it is about the way they live that we can really utilize to design around that. Design around.
And so, but with that, you may have some flubs of like around that and it's super easy to cut out. It's super easy to take away.
To design around that.
That's easier to take out the second around.
Design around that.
Da, 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 da. Need a little bit more of a smoothness here. Damn. Okay. That's cleaned up. Get rid of the 206. Their audio. Flubberoony.
Part of your everyday passage from bedroom to the public space to the experience of art is
We already fixed that. There's an initially like a so the experience of art, right, and then we just shifted that to just right to it, the experience of art.
passage from bedroom to the public space to the living, dining, and kitchen.
It's all like these super minute things, but I think all these little minute changes add up, and I think they make a world of difference. I have a general note: balance interview audio generally louder. I think I thought it was a little too quiet. Let's pause our music really quick.
The idea here was this was a retreat from their urban life, a place to escape with their family, a place to be contemplative, but there was a twist. The client also has a world-class art collection.
One of the big influences on the design is the
Yeah, so I think Kevin's coming a little quiet for me. So he's A2. Let's relabel this Kevin. Does it come up here? Doesn't come up here. Sag. Just comes up to like.
This was a retreat from their urban life, a place to escape with
I think the EQ's a little off.
family, a place to be contemplative.
Like we don't have a lot of that like mid-tone in it. It doesn't feel like. Like I feel like we lost a lot of the lower end of him.
The idea here was this was a retreat from their urban life, a place to escape with their family, a place to be contemplative, but there was a twist. The client also has a world-class art.
I mean, we don't want to lose this low end.
This was a retreat from their urban life, a place to escape with their family, a place to be contemplative, but there was a twist. The client was a retreat from their urban life, a place to escape with their family.
That sounds so much better, right? So we're getting a lot of that like bassier tones
Place to be contemplative
in our audio.
But there was a twist. The client also has a world-class art collection.
One of the big influences on the design is the client's Brazilian culture. So they're both originally from Brazil, and they wanted to infuse that experience and that culture somehow into the design of the project. They introduced us to this idea of maloca. These structures were sometimes used for multi-generational
That sounds a lot better.
families, and other times they're used for these large gathering spaces.
Like his audio
They all,
sounds fine.
Interestingly, have these very large triangular roofs.
We explored this triangular typology in the language of the entry.
That's the one that sounds very different.
Continuous sloping roof guides you from.
So he said he wants to add to re-record this section, so I think we're just gonna leave this kind of as is.
Slowly unfolds and tells its story.
And just make sure that the rest of it is
there's a
balanced
limited
in.
footprint. Because of that, we embedded the majority of the house into the hill. So the main bedroom wing, the living room, dining room, kitchen, all the entertaining spaces are nestled back into the dune.
But that kind of resulted in this long single-loaded corridor. It became this challenge on how do we make this space still interesting and exciting for the client. What better use than to make this an art gallery?
The sniff. Yeah, super minute. That really bothers me.
So the experience of art is part of your everyday passage
Feels
from bedroom
fine,
to public space,
I feel
to the
like.
living, dining, and kitchen.
Well, now it does.
And she looked at the materials for the house kind of like as a medium or a canvas for the project. It was important to the clients. The selection of the materials should be able to express a sense of time.
The home offers an emotional experience both raw and sumptuous.
It's my
You
favorite
have
part.
textured wood siding. You have beautiful copper island with a patina that will change as they live with the house.
Such a good
Steel
part.
used on the front door and liver system will also weather with natural exposure.
This is how you talk about materials, by the way. It's not just like, oh, we use this stuff. It's like, no, it's a living, breathing thing, and it has age. Like, just how he talks about the materiality of this home. It's just like that in and of itself is like by far my favorite part of this home.
And raw concrete floors make a strong presence as the canvas for the furniture, the art.
Okay. This section can come back up. Up.
We're trying to figure out what it is about this client that makes them who they are and what it is about the way they live.
And
Done. Done. Let's come up to
and be connected to nature.
yeah, so it's just going through and just really with the fine-tooth comb making sure that our audio is coming in and out the way that we want it to, where we want it to.
But there was a twist. The client also has a
Just making
world-class
sure it
collection.
dips when they're talking, making sure it comes up when they're not talking, and then, you know, especially at the very end, making sure that we have a very strong punctuation.
The site was challenging because it was very steep.
Whoa.
It was challenging because it was very steep.
Whoa.
The site was challenging because it was very steep, and there's a limited footprint. Because of that, the site was challenging because it was very steep, and there's a limited footprint. Because of that,
It's a little loud. Right, that's what I'm saying. Just like if we're listening to this same section of audio 100 times, it does get a little old.
Steep, and there's a
Go just like a touch, like 5.3.
That was challenging because it was very steep, and there's a limited footprint. Because
Touch more, 6.7.
that was challenging because it was very steep,
Yeah.
and there's a limited footprint. Because of that, we embedded the majority of the house into the hill. So the main bedroom wing, the living room, dining room, kitchen, all the entertaining spaces are nestled back.
Why isn't voice isolation on in this? That's on there. That's on there. Not on that one, but it's not a. Huh? Oh, no. Okay. No. Alright, let's bring back this fucking music because it's gonna take a second. 26.1. That's probably fine.
The idea here was this was a retreat
21.
from their urban life, place to escape.
24. That's fine. So there's a. It's so weird that it's doing this. Okay. A thing called voice isolation in DaVinci Resolve that basically takes away all the rustle. So because what we do is we take the microphone, lapel mic them underneath their shirt, and tape it to their chest. That way we get the hidden cord, we don't see the microphone, it's super crisp, and I don't have to have like a separate person come in with like a boom microphone, monitor the audio, making sure that's all working, right? Because the more complicated you make the audio recording, the more likely it is to fail. Here, I'll put something exciting on while I'm rambling about this. This is a project we're editing, by the way. So by completely streamlining it, it's an audio pack with a jack going into it, coming out, and it's like got the microphone. So we tape it to them, hides the microphone, hides the lapel mic. We get good crisp audio. The only issue is specifically with men, because they have the kind of button-up shirt here. It has like this like double layer with the buttons. It tends to rustle a little bit. I think maybe we should start adjusting it so it's like on their chest, like chest over here. I think that's not a bad idea, but we get a little bit of rustling. Don't want that in the final audio, so we go through and we add this like voice isolation to everything. And what that does is it really kind of just like, it does a really good job of just finding the audio of people talking, and then it'll just take that, isolate it, and get rid of a lot of the rustling. But it's not something that you can go and just paste on every clip, at least I'm aware of. And so, especially like post after the fact, right? This came out after we started editing, and so I have to go through individually with every single clip I want it on. Click it, add it, click it, add it, click it, add it. A little monotonous, but that's where we're at in this portion of the editing process. And there's like variation between all of them. Just like, all right, so why doing that?
The main bedroom wing, the living room, dining room, kitchen, all the entertaining spaces are nestled back into the dune.
Yeah. 80, 80, 80, 80. Just change all of them. That'd be cool, right? Nope. 80. That's it.
The idea here was this was a retreat from their urban life, a place to escape with their family, a place to be contemplative, but there
Okay, that's a lot better.
was a twist. The client also has a world-class
I think it's balanced.
collection.
One of the big influences on the design is the client's Brazilian culture. So they're both originally from Brazil, and they wanted to infuse that experience and that culture somehow into the design of the project. They introduced us to this idea of maloca. These structures were sometimes used for multi-generational families, and other times.
Okay. Full video is good. Now we just have to go through our like little itty bitty tiny videos, our baby videos. So we're just gonna work up backwards from this. Cropping, get rid of the dirt patch. Get dish like. This is in frame. The dirt here. Right, so position and a zoom key, position and a zoom keyframe. Go to the end, add a little bit more, and we add a little bit more zoom. Right, just to spice it up a bit. I think we go more. Poop. So we have to get rid of that. Okay, so something I'm curious about, because it is small. What if we I think crop it. 7. Crop. Okay, trust the process here for a sec. Right, so let's go just to the right of it. Right, let's just snag this over here. Right. And then turn this one back on, and we say, hey, just take that and put it on the top of it. And we're gonna position track it. Right. Like we blur it? I'm trying to find without having to go through the whole After Effects thing again. I feel like that's making it worse. Replicate? Wrap around. Nope. That looks worse. Come on now. Do you see that? Don't. You may end up just going in and taking it out anyways. Shoot. trying to add contrast in here. The black. Right. So like a little bit more. These. I will be right back.
This project kind of embodies the true nature of quiet architecture. You know, buildings can be subservient and quiet in the place that they are, but still carry a level of confidence about themselves and be good stewards to their context. When we came out, they had excavated to about 70 feet deep. The floor was below the floodplain and the cave was full of water. They didn't really know what they wanted per se, other than the fact that they had the idea of storing their wine collection kind of underground.
We discovered a more poetic version of what they wanted. You know, if the client had the ability or the skills to design the project themselves, they wouldn't need us. We're the kind of instrument, the tool, so to speak, to help them visualize and realize that.
We landed on a solution that was really simple. The program was just the essentials. The big luxury here is that there's a little bathroom.
You have this huge variable, which is the cave. It's a little daunting at first. Instantly you know there's going to be some issues that have to be resolved. The cave is not a nice smooth dimension. It's not even all the way from front to back. And so we were working with a new technology, at least a new technology available to architects, which gave us the ability to kind of laser measure everything.
It allowed us to kind of scribe fit the insertion. I kind of always have likened the project to building a ship in a bottle. That wooden box kind of ship in a bottle idea is purposefully kept away from the sides of the cave. And that way you can kind of feel the contrast of kind of the warmer woods that are surrounding us and the profile of the cave.
All of that is intended to not only bring up the color temperature, right, which is really important, but elicit this kind of response to organic materials that if it's just concrete and stone, right, you're missing that kind of fundamental connection to something that was alive.
Most of the features of the cave we wanted to accentuate, so grazing light that can hit the cave walls in a nice, elegant way.
With the lighting, there's two strategies because there's two objects.
We're back. All right, on the home stretch for a handful of these. This is probably the biggest one, or the furthest away from being done, just because there's like kind of like a first iteration of it. So I'm curious if we can just 7. Right to left. No, left to right. This should be left to right as well for better flow. That's how you do effective jump cuts, is just match the movement, match the speed, match the pace, right? We're going left to right here, slower pace. We're gonna go left to right here at like a slower pace. Except for some reason. Oh, I know why. It's the positioning. We did like a position pan and then we reversed it, so it kind of lost its shit. Yeah, we're just gonna end up cleaning up this shot. Slow second insured shot down. Done. This one. Let's go proxy though. Go 760. I think the pan is not doing us any favors. Should we go like pull it back just a touch? Maybe a little bit more. Okay, that feels fine. All interior shots. Oh, I know what this means. This one's a lot of the color grading side of things. So do we do it? Let's just do it now. Okay. So big issue we're having with all of this is the what you call it? The wood tone. The wood tone's a little too green for our liking. That's everything but the wood. It's just isolating that. What is this doing? So you're just bringing in saturation in line, I think. So in order to fix this, let's reset this here. Is we're gonna have to do a qualifier and take everything that has this really slight green hue. I'd like to avoid this wood down here if at all possible. Let's just try to snag this guy first. That makes me think that I should be able to move from that. Guess they're kind of the same tone. as close as we get. That, try to clean it up a little bit. And I think we're gonna have to mask out stuff. And porch. So I think this is a fine enough starting point for us to go. And so, right, so the wood tone is green. It's green because of the trees out there. The sun hits the trees. It does reflect a very subtle green tone onto the surfaces around. And so, and the camera picks up on that, and I think amplifies that a little bit too much. So, kind of have to walk it back. And so, what's the opposite of green on the color wheel? It's magenta. So we add in a splash of magenta, and then we kind of push it orange a touch, because that's wood tone coloring, right? It's a little bit warmer. We want it to be a little bit warmer. And I think we're Jay chilling with that. I mean, look at that. Like, that's like green to, ooh, that's some nice wood. Then we just track our mask. And then we have some nice wood. So that covers that. I still think we have an issue with the walls. Like, our walls don't feel like it's quite there. And I think it's what it's just gonna have to be. I'm happy with that. Really, like, little to no saturation on that. And then bam, we solved our white issue, right? So it's just a little bit orange, a little bit green, and then I think we just try to, like, take our white tones and just clean it up, and I think it looks so much better. So my issue might be, like, I think we want to do that to all the wood tones. I think we're okay kind of doing it across the board, right? And then this feels like a really nice, well-balanced shot. We have all of our very fine-tuned color details. Then what does it need? I mean, I would almost say, like, take that again, just like that. I would almost bring it up again, just a bit more. Or does that look bad? Are we overcooking? No, I think that's good. I think we're adding a little bit more brightness to it, and we're adding a little bit more contrast. So then we want all of the color tones, I think, to kind of match this warmer wood that we have going on. Mask. Let's stop the denoise for a hot minute. So we have to more or less do the same thing that we did. Telling the program, hey, we really just want everything that's this color and this saturation and this brightness. To get rid of her as much as possible. I think we can denoise it, and I think we just clean it. One issue I may have. Yeah, no, we do kind of want that, don't we? There's this section, like right here, that gets lost. Okay, I think that's pretty good. I think I live with that. And same thing, it's a little bit green, it's a little bit undertone. So how do we combat green? Splash of magenta. Before, after, before, after. I think there's maybe a touch too much magenta in here. I want it to still stay kind of back a touch. We're still not quite there in terms of color tone, matching from one to the other. That's a little, needs to be like a little bit more burnt. Dare I say, drop it down a little bit? A little like honey color, I think we're going for. And now we have like a little too much magenta going on. Again. Holy shit, that looks like two different shots, right? Like before, after. It looks like desaturated sad to having life again. I think that's pretty PDC to those. Could maybe down a little more. Black down. Yeah, because we're just trying to match like this like warmer honey tone to these two. I think these do a pretty damn good job. And if there's anything we're taking out, it's up, invert. And this is mostly there. Get general. Gets motherfucking needs to be brighter. Same thing. Really just trying to fine tune this so that it matches everything else that we've created. Hmm. That, get that. Don't want that. Huh? Oh, they're saying inverted. Is that helpful? We're gonna have to grab everything here, right? There's so much in the shot for us to grab. It's like having a hard time kind of picking and choosing here. I think we're fine with that. Just need to make it a little less yellow. Honeytones. And I think we're gonna have to do a couple things here. So it almost never works in our favor. That actually this kind of works. Hold on. You almost always are going to have to do multiple layers of these kind of adjustments to make it work and to make it feel right, right? Because like it's such a dynamic shot that we can't just take out the flooring all in one go. We just can't take out the walls in one go. So I think the balance between both of these pulls it towards the middle, which is what we want. Yeah, that feels good. The denoise. I think we have to add back in another denoise though to all this, especially when you start adding adjustments to all this stuff. There gonna be a little bit of a noisy flicker that you need to get rid of. Okay, that's good. That's good. That's good. For sure, to go the other way. Did that already. Black hose at the end shot. We'll do that later. Bathroom, slow down, second shot. Note. Tropical flow. It's better. The coloring doesn't feel like 100% there on this, actually. Biggest culprit, this one. Don't like that. Really hit that contrast mark. I think that helps a ton. It feels so much better. Same with this one. Like, it's just not. The whole thing just needs to get like brighter. The deflicker. Especially with the skylight too. Like, don't want to lose that. That this shot's gonna take forever to export, because like when you have the effects like adding a denoise across the whole image, adding a deflicker, which is what this is because of the LED light, it kind of flickers a little bit. It really starts to add up in terms of export time. Or gallery. Paste the art shots better. Where are you?
Still interesting and exciting for the client. What better use than to make this an art gallery?
There's a series of
Canvas shot just a little funky. Yeah, I'd rather have the RP square.
into this space.
Oh, no, we got it. Inside, outside, inside, yeah. Because we want to go,
There's a series of
we're going
skylights
up
that
above to the
bring
skylight,
light
and
deep in,
then
they bring light deep into
we're
this
showing the skylight from above, and then we're back in the space. VFX shot here. It's like one VFX shot that affects, I think, 4 videos. So that's done for now. First kitchen shot. Duh.
siding.
To right to left.
Beautiful.
Okay. Match door coloring to the rest of the metal around. This is something I don't think I'm gonna be able to do. Second shot. So we want to take the door and match the surrounding. Door feels orange. I think what I'm hearing. There's no way it's just as simple as dropping the saturation. It is. It is that simple. Wow, that surprisingly really easy. I thought this was going to be an endeavor. Yeah, you just have to adjust the saturation and hue of it a little bit. I think because the door is like insulated and there's a whole lot more going on with it. That's why the coloring's different. But you could just take the metal panel and just put it over the top of it. Like, it shouldn't have to be a different panel. So I don't know why the coloration of the actual door is different. Because it's not the camera that picked that up. Like, that just, it just is. Maybe the other panels went on first, and then the door went on, like at the very end. Right? So the other panels are getting way more weathered and patinaed. And then the door comes in at the very end. That wouldn't make sense, though. Why it's this way? I'm actually kind of curious. And the black dot. Oh shoot. Means my friend, why am I alone watching you? I don't know, man. It's a small market for people streaming their like editing process. I enjoy it. Like I said, I think, regardless of like what kind of comes out of this, it's for me it's kind of focused work time, right? I get to sit here, I get to dial into the edit, I get to just do the edit, I get to hang out with homies who decided to like stop by. And I'm not doing emails, I'm not checking my phone, I'm not like worried about these distractions. Like, we're just dialed into doing this. And then I also get, content out of it because I can sit here and ramble to myself, which is always, Chivano was pretty good at, because because that's just how I work through things. I like out verbally work things out loud, even when I'm alone and like working on an edit. I'm like, how do I make this thing work? Yeah, I don't know. I enjoy it. I enjoy it. High five. So was my dog's walk time. We need to get rid of this black thing. Wait, do sand. File name. Oh. Queue it. Send it. Oh, which one had that? Yeah, this was the super long one, right? Yeah. So the idea is we're just gonna take the long. Just fucking clean it up. We're just gonna take the longest one and clean it up, and then take that clip and then impose it into the other sections where we have this issue. Project, content fill. Think. Now we're cooking with gas. Huh? Why is it having an issue? Strange. Okay. Oh. Let's do the long one first, because that's probably going to be kind of a pain. Sure. That we tell it to subtract, and we just manually track it. It's got to be an auto track for this, right? This isn't like an overly complex shot. Why isn't it? No, I tracked the wrong thing. Idiot. Smaller is better. right? Yeah. Right? Yeah, okay, that works. Yep. Okay, so we're going to take that. We're going to make a reference frame from that. We're basically saying, hey, this is what's going on. How fucking tiny this is. Say, hey, take that, do content aware fill, apply it, okay, beautiful. Save it, exit. Populates in as our reference frame. Now we're going to say, hey, it's a surface. Don't expand anywhere. But the alpha expansion is basically like, hey, we're going to look at the immediate mask, and then we're going to take any information on the outside of it to also create our content aware fill as well. Subtle surface, subtle lightning corrector, and we just fill it. So it's good to say, hey, based off the mask and based off this frame that you created for us, we're going to take all that information, we're going to put it into this thing, and we're going to make a nice, pretty fill. We may have to add like a 2-pixel alpha expansion. So it is catching a little bit of that, the hose thing behind it. And it's unfortunately weaving it into what it's filling for us. So yeah, that solved all of our problems, right? So love that. I think we just export the whole video. I've been having issues having like exporting it as like an alpha and overlaying it not overlaying in like the right way. Right, there's our beautiful final thing. Export, queue it. Shoot 6 was probably our best output option. VFX, last one, 002, fix, render it. The same thing for you. Oh. Okay, so that's done. Change work area. I can just fill it without the reference frame. It's a high contrast enough moment. Can't imagine I'm too concerned about it. Yeah. I don't have to dick around with Photoshop anymore. Export Quay. Fix. Render it. Exit out. Save. And come back into here. Our VFX. Final ones, I swear. This. Dink, 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 dink. This is an O2 moment. Just there. Home office. C. This one's backing out. Of course, it's like a single frame short. 98 should be enough. Yep. And where's it? What's our last one? Last one is one of the straight on shots. Oh, wait, hold on. Hold on. I see you. I see you. Thought you could get away. I think we could get away running like 90. Just have a really good zoom on it. Boom. Materials. Fix. That's this one? Yeah. Right?
Also,
So, very subtle things, but right, like the hose connector, gone.
weather with natural exposure and raw concrete floors make a strong presence as the canvas for the furniture, the art.
Bam. Bam, bam, bam. Okay, so that's all the VFX stuff done, right? Black dot, done. We're the last one we're waiting for the audio switch, and the full video we're waiting for the audio switch. Yeah, other than that, we are cooking. So, che done. Yeah, so this one's all done. We'll go to a little more exciting shot for our kind of wrap up here. But yeah, that's pretty much. I think we're gonna call it there for the day. Much shorter stream, hour and a half. But I gotta eat. It's 1:30 already. Goddamn, I gotta eat. I gotta take my dog for a walk. Even though he's sleeping right now, he's fast asleep. But yeah, we'll be back tomorrow doing the same thing. We're gonna get an earlier start tomorrow. That's the goal. The goal is to start earlier tomorrow and get like a good chunk of the morning as like a stream. Yeah. But appreciate y'all stopping by. And, have a good one.